Just wanted to make a quick video. I just finished at a property that I'd done a video on before about that it was the first time it had been done, and it obviously hadn't been mowed in a while. It took me about 2 hours the first time to do it. And what I decided to do at the time was, because I knew it was an ongoing thing, I asked the person who lived there if it was okay that I used weed spray. I wasn't going to charge them for a weed spray or anything like that in particular, but what I was more thinking about was for the future, for when I go back there and mow. Now, in Australia, we usually, in my part of Australia, we deal with a couple of types of grasses. Generally, it's kikuyu or buffalo. More often than not, it's kikuyu. Kikuyu is not too bad. It's pretty easy to cut. They do have runners in it though, which can be quite difficult to get through. But the other grass, buffalo, is really, really thick, and I think it's quite thatchy as well. So the mowers bog down pretty good in it, and it's really, the whippersnippers have a hard time getting through it. So what I decided to do was, last time I was there, after I cut everything right back, I weed sprayed down the edges of the fences and basically around the edges of the whole property, all the garden beds and what have you. And the tenant didn't really, she didn't care either way. It was totally up to me kind of thing with what I did. She was more concerned about the price, and I was happy to charge the same amount for what I was doing. Now, the reason I didn't charge her for the weed spray or anything like that is because, as I said, I've just finished the second time there. Now, it took me 2 hours the first time, and I've just finished now, and it's just taken me 45 minutes to do that job. Generally, because I weed sprayed. Now, the grass was still pretty long again. It had been a month since I'd been there, and all that, but because I was able to weed spray the previous time, the edges were basically non-existent and hadn't grown, and I just sort of run around the edges, which is what took the most time the first time. It took me an hour to whippersnip the whole place the first time. I think it took me 25 minutes the first time and 20 minutes to mow, so the second time, sorry. So I think when you get a situation like that where it's a really hard edge or whatever it might be, the trimmings, and you can or are able to weed spray, don't necessarily have to charge the person for it. If they ask for their garden beds to be sprayed and things like that, then yeah, sure, go ahead and charge them by all means. But I think if there's a case where it's going to substantially reduce the amount of time you spend there on a job, I think it's a really good idea. Just a way to save you time, and if you're busy, it can sort of be a way to make more money in a day just by spending less time doing edges and stuff like that. And personally, I like the way that looks. I like the weed sprayed sort of along the fence line look. It's unless you've got really nice green lush grass against the fence, I think it goes, the weed sprayed edge looks okay. Obviously there's times when it doesn't, but there's certain circumstances where it does. And as I said, when it comes to saving time and money, I think it's a no-brainer when you're making those decisions. Obviously you want to run it by the person who lives there first, because some people are a bit funny about weed spray when they got dogs or whatever, but generally speaking, I use a product or a chemical called glyphosate that is fine to use. with dogs, as long as the dogs don't eat the grass or the weeds that have been sprayed when the spray's still on it. So as long as the spray is dry, you should be pretty fine. So that's what I use, and it kills it really good. I use a 15-litre backpack spray, and I put about 250 to 300 mil in that backpack. It's probably too much, but I'd rather be too strong than not strong enough, and it kills it pretty good, obviously. So yeah, that's just a little tip, guys. I think it's, you know, when you get your business to a certain level, when it's you know, time is crucial, or the amount of time you spend at a job. So if the job's a $60 job and you want to be there, you know, no longer than an hour, that's when it can really come into the fore, because an hour-long job is quite a big job, and taking 15 minutes off that is, you know, is quite substantial, and gets you onto your next job much quicker. All right, guys, just thought I'd share that with you today. Cheers, thanks for watching.